Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and some of the top high school talent from the gridiron has made their way to Coastal Carolina. The Offense-Defense Bowl, next on Fox College Sports. Four of the top high school players this past season have made their way to Brooks Stadium on the campus of Coastal Carolina. It's the Offense-Defense All-American Bowl, the East All-Stars against the West All-Stars tonight on Fox College Sports. And along with Scott Kennedy of Scott.com, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We welcome you to the broadcast booth. Delighted to have you with us. And when you think about some of the talent that are headed to Alabama, USC, Notre Dame, Michigan, well, some of those kids are here. This should be a lot of fun.
Well, it reads like a who's who of commitment list. Like you said, Ohio State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Auburn, Alabama, go out west to Nebraska, Texas. So there's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of future stars playing today. I think 50 guys are already committed to BCS schools that are playing in this game tonight.
Yeah, in particular, the offense seems to be probably the area we're going to focus on most, and in particular, the quarterbacks. This group is very, very talented.
Yeah, there's 6 quarterbacks in this game. 4 of those guys are ranked 4 stars or better on Scout.com. Starting with Zach Mettenberger on the east side, 6'6", 230 pounds, has a huge arm. He's going to get the nod to start for the East. Difference in contrasting styles for the next guy, Eugene Smith from Miramar, Florida, is committed to West Virginia. A little bit of a runner, not quite the same arm, but a little bit better mobility, but still plenty of arm strength. So those 2 guys are going to headline the East squad. And a sleeper named Adam Morgan from Virginia, a guy that most people probably haven't heard of. You probably should have. He threw for almost 9,000 yards this year in his high school career. 9,000 yards, and helped lead a perennial down team to the state playoffs this year.
Yeah, pretty amazing. That's from the east side. Maybe even better, how about the West quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think on the West side, you got 3 guys that are going to big-time programs, starting with Jordan Llewellyn going to Georgia Tech, and he is a guy who helped lead his team to a state title after being down 33-14 with 6 minutes left in the game. A run-pass threat, as you might expect for a player going to run that option for Paul Johnson. Ray Cotton is the second quarterback on there, a big kid, and he's probably the best runner of the bunch. A little bit erratic with his arm, but he shows a lot of arm strength, and we'll get to see him a little bit today too. And the third one from Tupelo, Mississippi, going to LSU, probably the more pure drop back of the 3 is Chris Garrett. Does a lot of things well on the run, so he's not a threat to run and beat you with his legs, but he can move and throw on the run, which makes him dangerous as well. And the running ability really plays a big part in games like this because so many plays tend to break down, as you might expect. So you look for these guys to use their arms as well as their legs, and hopefully they can sync up with the receivers and we can have a pretty exciting game.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. That's on the offensive side of the football. How about for the coaches? How about the week leading up to this All-American game tonight? Third member of our crew is downstairs, and that's Ashley Hoyer. Ashley, good evening to you.
Hey, guys. Well, the kids are very excited to be here tonight. A whole week of preparation leading up to tonight's game. But you know who seems even more excited to be here? The head coaches. Both the East and West head coaches have said that this All-Star game is a coach's dream to have this much talent on the field at one time. I had a chance to talk to both Fred Beasley and Gerald Carr earlier to talk to them about their coaching philosophies behind tonight's game.
You know, we play like a regular game. For these guys, it's a grand opportunity for them, and we plan it to win. You know, the guys have come out and they had a great week of practice. Our biggest thing is our stress to them is to eliminate the turnovers, eliminate the mental errors, and eliminate penalties, and I think they'll be fine. And it's just a matter of getting them settled down because they're antsy, and I heard several of the guys already talk about this is like a championship game for them. So this is probably one of the biggest stages that they've been on, so I'm excited for them.
Well, a lot of these kids have a natural ability of leadership, and a lot of the time to stand out amongst others. You have kids that like to stand in the back and just go with the flow. But we do have a ton of kids that come out here and get the team going, get their guys going their position, and we just go based on that. Who wanted more.
All right. Well, you heard the coaches. There's a lot of talent out here on the field tonight, guys.
Ashley, good job. Looking forward to your interviews throughout the game. The All-American Bowl, offense, defense. Yes, that's Jerry Rice. His son plays for the West. We'll kick it off when we come back on Fox College Sports.
If you want to play football like a pro, you've got to train like one. Offense, defense football camps are the best way for kids ages 7 through 18 to learn the fundamentals of football in a safe, full-contact environment. For more than 40 years, Offense Defense has been training young athletes with a certified staff that includes former and current NFL and college coaches, as well as some big-name pros themselves. Learn from the likes of Dallas Cowboy DeMarcus Ware, Washington Redskins Santana Moss, and Tennessee Titan Javon Curse, just to name a few. Offense Defense football camps are the official youth football camp of the NFL Coaches Association and have been named the #1 summer camp by Sports Illustrated for Kids. OD football camps are held in more than 50 cities across the country, so there's one near you. Just go to www.o-d.com to register. That's www.o-d.com. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game today.
Hello, I'm Nate Newton, former Dallas Cowboy player, 6-time Pro Bowler. I'm with DeMarcus Ware, 2-time All-Pro. Share it with him, DeMarcus.
Do you guys have what it takes to play college football with no recruiters knocking at your door? That's all going to change.
Thanks to a brand new partnership between Offense Defense Sports and YouTube, you can download your videos, your stats, millions of fans can see it, and guess what? Scouts can too. I tell you what, you better get on it, man, because this is happening between YouTube and Offense Defense Sports.
Don't let this amazing opportunity pass you by. Give colleges and top recruiters all the information they need at just one click.
Come on, guys, what are you waiting for? It's easy. Get in the game.
Go to o-d.com/top100.
One more time, D.
I said go to o-d.com/top100.
And take advantage of one of the top high schools prospect sites.
You'll thank us for that.
The 2009 Offense Defense All-American Bowl is brought to you by the Offense Defense Football Camps. Visit o-d.com for information on Offense Defense Camps. GameWare, look like a pro, play like a pro. And by Subway. Subway, eat fresh. And we welcome you back to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the Offense Defense Bowl. Tonight exclusively on Fox College Sports. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Scott Kennedy of Scout.com is alongside, and Ashley Hoyer is downstairs. Fred Beasley, you might remember that name because he was a 6th-round pick back in 1998. Outstanding football player, a star at Auburn. He played in the National Football League with the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Redskins, and he's one of the head coaches. He'll be on the west sideline tonight. Meanwhile, on the other side, it's Gerald Carr. And for football fans, especially in the college ranks, that rings a bell because he's been an offensive coordinator for a number of years. And there's a look at Gerald. We talked to him this morning. He was excited about not only showcasing these kids, but trying to win this game. He's been at Indiana, he's been at Baylor, and he also was a coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been to a couple of playoff appearances with the Eagles as well. So Gerald Carr and Fred Beasley, Scott, will be our coaches tonight, and I'm looking forward to this. This should be a lot of fun.
Well, I think they're both going to have a run-first mentality, especially Fred Beasley, the former fullback, but with the big wide receivers on the East squad, Stephen Hill and Michael Bowman, along with a huge arm from guys like Zach Mettenberger and Eugene Smith. Expect the East not to sit on it too long running the ball. They got too many weapons on the outside and with the right kind of guys to get them the ball too. So they'll air it out. Lots of interesting matchups to focus on.
And let's explain to the folks at home how some of these kids have gotten here. The offense defense camps are all across the country from coast to coast, and some of the kids have been there and have been brought in as All-Americans from those camps. A lot of these kids have been scouted, and that's a reason that they are here. But they're 84 of the top kids in the country that will be on display tonight. And as we mentioned, they're all headed to Division I schools and some of the top programs in the country. That's a look at Raymond Cotton, the 6'4", 220-pound quarterback who's looking at Auburn and Arkansas and Oregon, and they all bring a little bit something different to the table when you talk about their offensive experience too. Whether you're running back, you're between the tackles, if you get to the outside, the speed of the wide receivers, the big arm of the quarterback, whatever the case may be, and that's what makes this so special.
Well, and there's a lot of contrasting styles. You mentioned the receivers as well. You've got a 6'4" and a 6'5" guy in Bowman and Hill on the end, but you've also got a guy like Ohio State commitment Chris Fields in the slot and West Virginia commitment Stedman Bailey in the slot. And on the other side of things, you don't have that big wide receiver as far as height goes, but Chad Bumpus from Tupelo, Mississippi is as good as any wide receiver on the field. He's just 5'10", but he gets plenty of separation, and he's the go-to guy really for the West squad as well.
With this being an All-American game, 15 minutes are the quarters that will be played. So 30-minute halves, hour-long game. Normally these kids are used to 12-minute quarters on the high school level, so that's a little bit of a change. And also, Scott, as we were talking about with the coaches today, from last year at the Orange Bowl to what we have tonight here at Brooks Stadium, a lot different with the kicking game, which is good, I think, because last year there were no returns. It was just fair catches. It was kicked away, no chance to block it. This year you can't block it, but there'll be returns set up, so you get an idea of the speed of the kids.
The returns are live, and that will really benefit the West squad, who has Chad Bumpus returning kicks. Chris Fields has some good speed too, so it definitely makes it more exciting. I think the opening kickoff's about as exciting a play as there is in sports, and to see it just start the ball in the 35, it's kind of anticlimactic right off the start. Mitch Ewald will kick it away. That was a look at Quandon Christian, a linebacker from Lakeview, South Carolina. He is committed to Clemson. He was also on the outside thinking about NC State, but we'll talk about some of the kids and where they're going, and I know you have the latest up-to-date information. And here's a look at Ewald out of Aurora, Illinois. And so the East, they wear the blue, will receive. The West will kick it away. Larry Raper, one of those that's back deep to receive for the East out of Shelby High School in North Carolina. You'll see that these kickers are pretty good. It's fielded at the 15-yard line. Little hole, and then brought down near the 27-yard line, and that's where the East will take over offensively. And a look at Zach Mettenberger, as you mentioned, a big kid, and one of the real highlights of this camp was watching him throw the football, and Ernest Norman was in on the stop defensively on that kickoff coverage there for the West. Chris Fields getting the return. He'll also play a little bit of the slot receiver. We talked to Coach Carr earlier today. He said probably wants to start with the run and try and open up the pass.
Mettenberger will pitch it to the wide side. Going nowhere and maybe losing a yard or two on that play. There's a big hit there by Darius Moffitt, the linebacker from Chicago, Illinois. Moffitt is a big kid, 6'3", 225, and they say he goes from sideline to sideline as well as anybody out there defensively. And this was the ball carrier, Damon Dennis.
He was one of the best linebackers, in fact, the best linebacker on the West squad. It's one of the reasons he got named captain. Not committed yet, but we're thinking he's going to end up at Illinois. It's just a matter of time.
Boy, how good is Ron Zook at getting some of the talent out there in the country? While at Florida and now at Illinois, they're going to set up a little screen here, but they slipped. And that was one of the plays that both coaches were talking about that they'd like to incorporate offensively. Remember, they've only had 4 or 5 days to get this thing going, and the screen pass was something that they were trying to set up, and that time it was to Michael Bowman.
Little slip screen to Michael Bowman. He went down kind of awkwardly. I'm glad to see him get up okay. He was fighting a busted knee, and we weren't sure he was 100% healthy, so I'm glad to see him pop back up. Coach Carr said he's coached guys like Irving Fryer, who played in the league forever, and this kid has the strongest hands of any player he's ever had.
Isn't that something? The strongest hands of anybody he has seen in a game like this. 3rd and 15. They want to throw the football, and brought down. He's sacked and going nowhere. In on the stop was Ty Phillips, a defensive end from East St. Louis, Illinois.
We were speaking of matchups, Dan, and those are the ones I think we need to really watch. The strength of this West is the outside guys, the defensive ends. The offense brought in, the offensive line for the East has 6 guys that played left tackle for their high school team. So a lot of guys playing positions for the new time.
Jerry Rice Jr. back deep to receive, as well as Anthony Sanders for the West. That's right, Jerry Rice Jr. out of California. His dad is here as well.
Red 22 is in the neutral zone. 5 yards, repeat 4th down.
It's Alvin Hines, a defensive back from Alabama. There he is. He wears number 6. It's not number 80, but we'll see if he turns into number 80 as the years go by. Jerry Rice Jr., an All-American this year. Not a big kid, but they say he's got remarkable hands. We get to see right there, is right on cue. He had it and then fumbled it, lost maybe about a yard in the play, but recovered it. And we'll stay right here and get our first look at the West offense as they'll have it for their first possession, 1st and 10.
And already the kicking game is paying dividends for excitement with a fumble on the first punt.
There's Raymond Cotton, 6'4", 220-pounder out of Meade, Alabama.
A little change up already because Coach Beasley told us that he was going to start with Llewellyn and that Cotton might be the third guy off. Cotton has a big-time arm and lots of athleticism. He's a good enough athlete to play several positions.
Remember, they said that with him, it's more of the out routes that they'd like to incorporate. This is a handoff, and slipping on that was Aaron Hardwick. So we've seen a couple of these running backs slip on this turf. It is natural grass out there, as we've seen, partner. We've also seen a lot of rain this week too, so it's probably a slippery surface.
And the field's held up great. That's part of getting used to the first time on this field and getting used to their footing. And we saw Bowman slip, and now we've seen Hardwick slip. So hopefully they can make an adjustment on the fly. That's part of being an All-American.
This will be 2nd down and 10. He got back to the line of scrimmage. And they want to throw the football. Cotton will step up. Now he'll run. Plenty of room, and he slips.
Yeah, footing's definitely a problem early. You saw the type of escapability he had, got outside, and if he had been able to keep his footing, he had lots of room to run.
Take a look at the replay here.
Cotton dropping back, just looks downfield, and like we said, there's a lot of busted plays in this. So a guy that can get you that extra yards is so valuable in this type of game because they haven't had a lot of time to develop a rapport with their route side receivers and that timing. Timing breaks down, rush end comes in. A quarterback that can make things happen with his legs are extremely valuable.
3rd down and 8 for the West offense, led by Raymond Cotton on this first drive. Blitz coming from the outside, and they bring him down. Quandon Christian, linebacker out of Lakeview, South Carolina, and Lakeview High. Highly recruited. He was looking at Clemson, North Carolina State. So, partner, where's he going?
He's going to Clemson, and you see him there. That's part of the rules here. You're allowed to blitz one guy. Cotton never sees him coming. Christian comes untouched. Big kid, because Cotton runs in the 6'5", 220-pound range, and you can see that he didn't have any trouble with the strength taking him down. Actually reels him in with his left hand, uses his right hand to try and go for the ball. Cotton did a good job of protecting the blind side.
Ewald will kick it away. Boots it from the 19. Beautiful punt. Fair catch called for and taken at the 34-yard line. That's one thing that stands out about these All-Americans. How about the kickers? These kids are awfully good for being 18 years old.
Well, and they changed it up a little bit. That was Stephen Hill with a fair catch. That's not the last time. Hopefully we'll see him get the ball. But one of the things that they do for the first time is you're allowed to kick off a tee in high school, and they're actually kicking off the grass like college rules, and that can really throw kickers a loop for the first time. And watching them in practice, I think the kicking game, which can be a liability in these type of games, should still be okay.
You bring up an interesting point here in this All-American Bowl, and we'll talk about it, how on defense you can rush 5, 4 down, 1 linebacker. Mettenberger, the East offense. Back on offense when we come back.
So you want to be a football player but don't know where to start? We do. Offense Defense football camps are the best way for kids ages 7 through 18 to learn the fundamentals of football in a safe, full-contact environment. For more than 40 years, Offense Defense has been training young athletes with a certified staff that includes former and current NFL and college coaches. OD football camps are the official youth football camp of the NFL Coaches Association and have been named the #1 summer sports camp by Sports Illustrated for kids. Just go to www.o-d.com to register.
Want to play in the Offense Defense All-American Bowl someday? Here's your chance with Offense Defense Select Camps. High school age players receive advanced instruction and evaluation from some of the top names in the business at these nationwide camps. Top players from each camp are invited for free elite camps, an open audition for seniors to try out for the OD Bowl. Just go to www.select.o-d.com.
Be as good a ball player as you can.
Or call 843-903-1888. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game today. Offense Defense Football League is the premier youth football league in America, providing the most comprehensive package for today's young players. Offense Defense's mission is to give every child who shares our passion for the game the opportunity to play for free. That's right, free. ODYFL football is being played in 40 states and 3 countries, so we hold tournaments that will showcase our team's talent on a regional and national level. To find out how your team can join the OD family, visit www.o-d.com or call today at 843-903-1888.
Welcome back to Brooks Stadium, Coastal Carolina, their campus, and there's a look at the front 4 for the West. Scott, as we went to break, we were talking about how in this All-American Bowl, what they're allowed to do on defense. You can rush the front four, obviously, but just one other. That's it. So 5 coming at you.
Yeah, and I like that because some of them, they'll make you play a base 4-3 with no blitzes. So this challenges you a little bit more.
There's a blitz from the outside, but they go the other way. And a short pickup that time for Damon Dennis, 5'9", 190-pounder out of Atlanta, Georgia at Carver High School.
And Dennis has had just a great week of practice. He's one of those guys that I think has a chance to really show that he belongs playing. He's a Troy commitment. At one point was committed to Georgia Tech, but is one of those guys that has stood out along the lines with Florida State commitment Lonnie Pryor, but is going to a smaller school, proven he belongs on the field.
There's a look at Mettenberger, 6'6", 230 pounds, quarterback. They'll swing it to the flat, and they've got a little room across the 40, and that's Damon Dennis again.
Both of these backs, Pryor and Dennis, do a great job of catching the ball out of the backfield. It's what makes them so valuable in a game like this, is you can get them the ball several ways. You see just an easy drop, swing right, and in stride for Mettenberger. That's a harder throw than it looks, especially for a guy that size playing for the first time with him. Mettenberger can throw the ball, 70 yards, but sometimes that 5-yard swing is the hardest pass to make.
3rd down and 2. It's the voice of Scott Kennedy from Scout.com. Ashley Hoyer with us. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And they're going to be short of the first down. Short again of the first down, and the stop it looked like that time for that West defense. Boy, that's that linebacker, Ryan Reardon, out of Notre Dame Prep in Scottsdale, Arizona. He's had a real nice start to this ballgame.
Yeah, and he's another one of those guys that might be under-recruited for the type of ability he has on the field. He's got an Army offer right now, and with the type of exposure he sees, college coaches, if you're watching, keep an eye on Ryan Reardon. He's a guy you can get late in the process and a guy you should be after.
For Scott, for many folks that want to know about Scout.com, tell us about that, and tell us about how that is important with some of the kids that are out there today.
Well, Scout's a whole network of team sites. From whatever your favorite team is, we've got a team of people that cover them. Our little slice of that is trying to tell you what kind of players you're going to be getting. And it looks like we got a first big decision here, going for it on 4th down.
Well, when you're 6'6", 230 pounds, I think you can get a foot, can't you?
Running behind Big Ty Howell, the Penn State commitment, has had a big week of practice. One guy we haven't gotten to talk about yet is Kwame Geathers, who may be the east side, regardless offense, defense, MVP. And Howell's the only player that's had any luck at all in blocking the big man.
There's a look at Gerald Carr. To find out more about offense, defense, go to o-d.com. It starts when these kids are 7 years old for some of the camps that are out there, and all the way up through high school. Plenty of time, shows off the arm, has a man, and just out of the reach for the intended receiver, Stephen Hill, who is from Georgia, Miller Grove High School. In on the coverage was Anthony Sanders, the defensive back from Las Vegas.
And Stephen Hill had a step. The pass was just a little bit long, and it looked like Hill may have lost his footing a little bit because he didn't stride completely all the way through this pattern, stumbled a little bit towards the end, but as we saw, Mettenberger's got the arm to run that post corner route all the way down towards the end. That was a 45, 50-yard throw on the fly.
This will be 2nd down and 10 with 8:31 to play here in our first quarter from the Offense-Defense Bowl in Myrtle Beach. Good protection again, fires, and overshoots the intended receiver. Also in there was Roland Pierce, the defensive back out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Looked like a little bit of a misread. Looked like the receiver made it in, and the ball went out just a little bit. So, stuff we expect to see in an all-star game.
There's a look at Fred Beasley, 6th-round pick back in '98, as I said before. Boy, he was a heck of a pro, wasn't he?
Well, you got pretty good value at 6th round when you had a player in the league for 10 years.
Most of that time spent with the 49ers. Great blocking back. Auburn star.
For recruiting fans, that's the equivalent. Looks like we got a false start penalty.
On a 3rd down and 10 as the officials come together.
Hit ball. Off spear.
They've been on the tight end, who wears number 88, Philip Lutsen-Kirchen, 6'4", 250-pounder. There he is, number 88.
Lutsen-Kirchen's up for an ESPY this year for one of the catches he helped make. Fitting he's committed to Auburn because it was very similar to a play Carlos Dansby made in a Peach Bowl against North Carolina on interception, laddering the ball back in for a touchdown.
Now out of the shotgun this time for Mettenberger. Steps up and throws. Nearly picked off. And it'll bring up a 4th down.
Looked like that guy Reardon again, who we were just speaking about, coming in on a blitz. Andre Harris at the left tackle handled his guy, but the blitz came in and he was able to get in Mettenberger's face, forcing a short throw and a punt for the East squad.
Also looking for Chris Fields on that play, the speedster out of Painesville, Ohio. As we saw last year in the offense-defense bowl, a lot of flags because you're trying to fit in special teams, offense, defense.
Encroachment, 22, defense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
You're trying to do this within about a 4-day period. It's not an easy thing to do.
Well, I know the coaches were hoping that they wouldn't call ticky-tack fouls, but it's hard not to call one where someone comes across the line. That one's fairly obvious.
It's Jerry Rice back there, along with Ruiz. May have been a face mask, but no flag on the play. Lane the Rees. A short return that time for the West offense. They'll have it for the 2nd time tonight. We'll return with more on Fox College Sports in just a moment.
Well, I felt like I needed an extra kick or an extra little boost to get me through. And from what I hear, 5-Hour Energy does the job, so I decided to give it a try. I like the way 5-Hour Energy makes me feel before games. It gives me that edge that I need and keeps me focused throughout the football game. I tell all the players to take 5-Hour Energy. I mean, they see the way it makes me feel, so I think everybody wants that same type of feeling. I am the 5-Hour Energy guru. It's the truth. I mean, I wouldn't be taking it. 5-Hour Energy. I use it. I love it.
They still have playmakers. They still can score.
Our insiders break down the NFL's biggest stories. Pro Football Preview, presented by Geico. Tonight.
FSC presents the first edition of the CONCACAF Champions League. 24 champions, 13 nations, and only one will triumph. Who will be the first? Exclusively on FSC.
There's a look at Raymond Cotton, 220-pounder. Fort Meade, Alabama, his 2nd time under center for the West offense as they have it 1st and 10 with the ball on the 15. Throw over the middle and they connect. That's Sean Lynch, a wide receiver out of Alabama, and they pick up the 1st down. Mention that Ashley Hoyer is with us and she has a special guest downstairs. Ashley.
Hey guys, well, some of our viewers are probably wondering as they watch who should they be paying specific attention to. Joining me now is Alan True with Scout.com, and he's been out here all week looking at these guys, evaluating them. Alan, if you're a viewer at home, who should they be paying attention to right now?
Well, so far it's been a defensive game. A couple guys on the defensive side of the ball have done really well. On the West, Montez Robinson and Ty Phillips. And also on the East, Quandon Christian and Kwame Geathers. Those guys have been dominant all week. If you're looking for some offensive firepower, Dexter Pratt, the running back from the West, is bound to make some big plays, as well as Chad Bumpus. And the 2 receivers on the East, Michael Bowman, Stephen Hill, those guys have been excellent in practice this week.
All right, those are some of the big name guys. What about some of these guys that came out here who didn't necessarily have colleges looking at them, but this week we'd say they definitely raised their stock?
A few guys come to mind immediately. Aaron Hardwick on the West, also Ryan Reardon, who's already made a couple plays. Between the 2 of those guys, they came in really not having any offers at all, and they've shown this week that they can hang and play with some of these big boys. On the East side, Damon Dennis, he's a running back. He had an offer, committed to Troy, but still a lot of people didn't know his name. He's been excellent this week. The coaches have actually tabbed him as one of the MVPs of their team.
Wow, and any guys that you think next year we're going to see make an immediate impact in their freshman year?
Well, you look at the guys who are physically ready to play. Michael Bowman's one of those. Also, Reed Fraggle, the tight end who's headed off to Ohio State. I think you could see those guys on the field.
All right, thank you. Back to you guys.
Okay, good job, Ashley. Thank you. Thanks to Ryan and also Alan. So, 6.5 to play. And you want to add something to what Allen had to say?
Well, just a couple of good plays on the punt coverage, and then here on that swing pass was Mike Gilliard, the University of Georgia commitment, showing what he does best, which is go after guys in space. He's a will linebacker who doesn't take on blocks as well as some of the other guys just now. But if he sees a guy and he's got an open path, he's the one that's going to get to him first. And we've seen that twice already in the past 3 or 4 plays.
Just over 6 minutes to go. 3rd down and 11 for Raymond Cotton in the offense for the West. Cotton is brought down. David Mackel, the defensive end out of Baltimore, Maryland, went to Edmondson Westside High School, and I believe he's headed to Maryland.
He is, and it looked like he came from a stand-up linebacker position, which he played a little bit of with some short numbers. And again, that's the same play. He came blind off the side. They got him earlier on that game coming off the backside. Someone's going to have to come over and block that blitzing linebacker coming off the right side of the defense.
And a timeout taken with 5:32 to play. Find out more about the offense-defense folks. 51 full contact football camps. They train 10 to 15,000 kids in over 40 major football markets. It's amazing what they've been able to do with many of the kids that you see, for instance, a Des Bryant at Oklahoma State, or some of the kids that even played in the Rose Bowl yesterday have played in the offense-defense bowl, or at least have participated in the OD camps.
Well, the camps are so important for the younger guys because it's one of the few full-contact padded camps that there are. I help run the scout combines, and those aren't pads. Those are more 7-on-7 guys, some one-on-one with offense defensive linemen, but to really get a chance to play against some of the higher level players and to increase your level of competition at a young age, those offense-defensive camps are a good way to get your feet wet against some other players, not just the ones on your team and who you may play against, but inter-regional players.
Let's take a look at some of the action early on if you're just joining us with 4:59 to play defensively. And for the most part, you know, that's what really stands out early on in these All-American games, especially here in the Offense-Defense Bowl, as we saw that last year. Because, again, it's only 4 days to try to get this offense ready to go. So defensively, that is what stood out here in the first few minutes of play. Oh, and a high snap that goes all the way back into the end zone. It's a live ball. They try to kick it. It's loose. They try to kick it out of the end zone, and they do.
Well, that's kind of a conundrum that they put the East squad in because they're not allowed to rush. They're not allowed to rush and try and block it. But what happens if it goes over his head? And Dan, that's one of the things we should have hit on earlier. The East squad has very good long snappers, something you have to watch for in a game like this.
Slow to get up, by the way, LaRon Fewer. Where's number 33 for the East?
And you can see the punter on this. Mitch Ewald never had a chance at this one. That was 5-6 feet over his head. He had plenty of time to try and maybe recover because there wasn't a rush. Furr has gotten up and looks like he's going to be okay too.
So they will say it's a safety. And the East has jumped down on top on a special teams play in an All-American game, 2-0.
Well, to get back to your point about why the defense is ahead, is one player can dictate a defensive play. You know, if 10 guys on offense beat 10 on the other side, but the defensive end beats the offensive tackle, that play's over. You know, so one guy can dictate, and that's why the defense is so much tougher, and why the defense has the advantage in games like this, because it takes 11 guys doing their job on offense for a play to be successful.
We're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's a cool night. It's been rainy all week. And what a thrill for these kids as they have a chance to work with former professional players. For instance, a Fred Beasley is the head coach, who's just out of football by only a year or so. So, I mean, he's not that far removed from playing in the National Football League. But as you saw in one of the commercials that we showed you, Nate Newton's a part of this, Jerry Rice, Marshall Falk. So all these kids get great instruction for the 4 or 5 days that they're here, and not only just to thrill to play in this game, but to get the coaching that they get too.
Well, and honestly, Dan, that's part of the evaluation process from my point of view, is I want to see how these guys respond to a different level of coaching.
And the kick is away, taken at the 23-yard line with 5:20 to play. Still on his feet. That's Larry Rayford. And finally brought down, a late flag on the play as he's brought down near the 45. Well, to make sure that you get Fox College Sports, call your local cable provider or call 1-877-2-GET-FCS. You can also visit our website at foxcollegesports.com for more information. This is live programming. Of course, we've got football from the Big 12. We had the Paradise Jam for the Virgin Islands.
Block in the back, 24, blue. 10 yards penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
It's Damon Dennis who's whistled for the infraction, but we had UConn on a couple of times, Wisconsin, Miami, San Diego. We had the huge upset. They said it was the biggest upset in Western Kentucky history when they upset Louisville. We had that for you on a Sunday afternoon just before Thanksgiving. So all those live events plus coaches shows from across the country here on FCS. 5:10 to play. The East with the football, third time tonight as they lead it by the score of 2-0. May have lost a play on that carry, or rather lost a yard on that carry. That was Lonnie Pryor, the 5'9", 175-pounder in the backfield from Florida.
Nebraska commitment Kevin Young blowing that play up. He was in the backfield almost before Pryor was able to get the ball. So good job by Kevin Young.
This will be a second down.
Haven't seen a quarterback change yet, which is interesting. So these guys are getting some time. Those 15-minute quarters help.
Mettenberger with time, shows off the arm, looking deep, has a man, and this is 6. Touchdown, Stephen Hill, but a flag on the play. Stephen Hill, 67 yards. They take the flag away. The play stands up. Mettenberger, the biggest play of the night so far, the big arm.
Dan, this one starts up front with great protection. Mettenberger has time to set his feet and chuck it, and this time right in stride. No stumbling, right in stride. Stephen Hill catches the ball with his hands, looks it right in, doesn't use his body, doesn't slow down. That's about as pretty a pass as you're going to see on this level or any level, Dan. Big wide receiver, and for those watching at home, that was a bulldog to a yellow jacket, so enjoy that one. We might not see it happen again for a long time.
You got that right. The extra point is up and good. Andrew Lloyd with that to make it 9-0. The East All-Stars leading.
I've been a huge fan of Stephen Hill for a long time. We interviewed him on Scout.com earlier this year, and he was one of those guys. We rated him 4 stars, which for the NFL equivalent would be ranking him a first-round draft pick. And he didn't have very many offers to get started. He said one of the reasons he thought why is because he wasn't able to go camping a whole lot in the springtime because he was playing basketball and running track. But you can see he's got all the talent in the world. He's 6'4". He's 205 pounds. Great strider. You saw he had 3 steps on the defensive backs, looked the ball right in his hands, and Mettenberger made it easy by dropping it right to him on stride. Great play.
Mettenberger had 19 touchdowns. He rushed for 4, threw for 19, had over 2,100 yards in his senior season at Oconee County, Georgia High School. So early on, it's 9-0. The East leading with 4:21 to play here in our first quarter. Andrew Lloyd will kick it away. Deep kick, and they'll mark that at the 20. Let's check in with Ashley.
Hey guys, joining me now is Zach Mettenberger, quarterback for the East team. He just scored the first touchdown, a nice long pass. Let's talk about what this week has meant for you.
You know, it's just a great chance to, you know, just hang out with some great guys and, you know, get used to what the next level is going to be like.
What was that like out there just now?
You know, we got momentum from that safety, and, you know, Steven just burned his man, and I just put it up for him.
All right, and you're one of the many guys who's going to be enrolling to start college just in about a week. Let's talk about what that means for you.
It's just, you know, Aaron Murray and me are going to get up there early and, you know, compete and try to, you know, get to know the guys and know the playbook. And, you know, it's just giving me a chance to mature physically and mentally.
Why don't you let our viewers know exactly where you're headed?
University of Georgia.
All right, any Georgia fans out there, you will be seeing him next year. Back to you guys.
Okay, Ashley, good job. Georgia Bulldogs started out the season #1 and finished up strong, and he is headed to play for the Bulldogs.
Well, and on that last play real quick was a guy that we had talked about was Kwame Geathers, and I think they said earlier about him is if they can get him blocked, they deserve to win. One of the most dominating players we've seen all week.
Jordan Llewellyn is now the quarterback, and big time hit that time.
by
Roderick Sweeting, the defensive back out of Locust Grove, Georgia.
And another Georgia Tech commitment, so not a bad start for the Yellow Jackets. He can play a little safety, he can play a little corner, 4 stars on scout.com, and you can see he's obviously physical enough to play safety.
Sweeting is 6 foot. He just knocked a kid that is 6'8". Reed Fragel is the tight end, number 88, who made that catch, headed to Ohio State. He has had a great week of practice, they said. 6'8", 250, number 88, the tight end for the West offense. Flag on the play, could get a holding. And also Christian tossing Llewellyn, the quarterback, out of play.
Our first sub at quarterback with Jordan Llewellyn coming in. Another Georgia Tech commitment. They're very well represented in this game.
Let's go back to Geathers and what you're talking about as far as being a highly touted prospect.
Well, we've got an ISO on him here, and this is one of the few times that they've been able to slow him down, but they knew going in that he was going to get 2 players.
79 red, penalty decline, 4th down.
He was going to get 2 players and double teamed on every single play. So if he's a space, even if he's just doing nothing but occupying 2 blockers, he makes everyone around him that much more valuable. We've got him listed as an offensive tackle at scout, and he still may end that. He may get disowned because his pedigree and his family are all defensive linemen on the next level.
Where does he wind up playing next year?
I think South Carolina is as good a bet as any right now with his with Clifton Geathers being up there. So.
Another high snap. This punt, though, is shanked to the right, and the East will have good field position. Ball is down at the 36-yard line, and that's where the East will take over offensively.
All right, man.
With 3:10 to go in our first quarter and a lead of 9-0. The offense-defense bowl from Brooks Stadium, Coastal Carolina. Find out more about the folks at Offense Defense. Go to o-d.com.
Eugene Smith checking in at quarterback brings a little bit of different look. He can make that long throw as well, but he's also a little bit more mobile, so we'll see how they try to use him on his first play.
Miramar High, Florida, over 3,000 yards. A little pump fake as he's going down. It's incomplete. Had 32 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He also rushed for 6 TDs as well.
Ty Phillips putting pressure on him. You saw him sidestep it. And there's not too many quarterbacks at this level that can pump fake like that, reload, reset, and throw an accurate ball. And that one was broken up by the defensive line again. Michael Bowman, the intended receiver, I think he's going to want to be getting involved soon too. He's a dominant personality out on the field.
Eugene Smith under center. 2nd down and 10. They'll swing it out into the flat. Head of steam, Damon Dennis picks up the first down and brought down near the 20-yard line. That's Trevor Erno with the stop, the linebacker out of Long Beach, California.
Dan, that was close to a lateral. You see Eugene Smith drop back and swing out. That was almost a running play, but you feel safe making that play with these running backs with such great hands, and you see how quickly Dennis doesn't mess around. There's not a lot of shake and bake there. It's put your head down and go get yards. Not a lot of wasted effort, and that's what's made him so valuable to the coaches this week.
Showing blitz from the left side. They'll pick it up, firing underneath. The catch made, Michael Bowman. And Bowman brought down at the 15-yard line, his 2nd reception of the night.
Michael Bowman showing his strength there, headed to the University of Alabama at 6'5". And you look at him here as Smith drops back and hits him on just a quick hitch pattern. And then you let Michael Bowman go to work. A little shake and then a stiff arm to the ground. He picks up some extra yards. He looks a lot like, I'm hesitant to say it because Julio Jones is that good, but he looks an awful lot like Julio Jones.
Why has Nick Saban been so good in the recruiting wars across the country?
Well, I think one of the things he does is he sells a plan better than anybody. He sits down with the college prospect and said, this is how we're going to use you.
And it's another touchdown for the East. And this time, Desmond Parks, the tight end out of Greer, South Carolina.
Greer, South Carolina, Desmond Parks, big target. Another 6'6", 6'7" guy standing there with Letzenkirchen. You can see how Parks is a little bit taller than him. Another accurate pass. You see a little waggle action as Smith bootlegs out, hits a wide open Parks, and Parks does the rest as he walks in. Headed to the University of Florida, so another Gator. I know he's got an eye on the Oklahoma-Florida game coming up, and no doubt about who he picked. He said, "Go Gators." So you see a pass catching tight end in the mold of Aaron Hernandez, who has done such a good job for the Gators and will be a big part of that game. That's the type of player he is right now. He's a little behind on his blocking. He's not as physical as a guy like Letzenkirchen is right now. But you see the upside is a word that gets thrown around a lot with a guy that's 6'7" in hands and can run like that. So big weapon for the Gators coming.
Catch the FCS Tailgate Tour Marathon on January 16th. We'll revisit the tailgate stops from earlier in the year leading up to the BCS National Championship show at 7 Eastern. That's the tailgate tour. And again, that marathon on January 16th.
Light rain starting to come down here.
Very light, and let's see if that affects the passing game or if we see some more fumbles. We have seen a lot of slipping so far here in the first quarter.
Well, and it's time. The West needs a first down at least. They're in danger of this thing getting away from them if they don't establish some sort of offense and at the very least flip the field. The kicking game has done them into this point, and the East has been starting with great field position. And if they don't, at the very minimum, flip the field on them, they could be in a lot of trouble in a hurry here.
Just showed you number 8 of the West. That's Chad Bumpus. Love to see the ball get in his hands. There he is. Also, Dubosky is back there to receive. And they don't let him take it out of the end zone. They'll mark that at the 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10. Saw him catch it, just didn't see him run with it.
Yeah, and that's the special part of it is watching him run with it. Down to 2. Chad Bumpus, a 4-star guy on Scout.com, down to Mississippi State and University of Alabama. My personal feeling is he ends up at Mississippi State, and he's the kind of guy that can get a lot of separation. Drop him in that slot, try and get him the ball any way you can. Punt returns, kick returns, swing passes, even maybe as a little bit in running back. We've seen a little bit more of that happen with guys like Percy Harvin. Just get him the ball any way you possibly can.
1:55 to play, first quarter. Jordan Llewellyn and also Jamal Miles in the backfield. Llewellyn will hand it off in a short gain that time for the West offense.
Miles did a good job, just an easy belly play right up the middle and push forward for 3-4 yards, try and settle it down and getting some more manageable down and distance here. They've got into some 3rd and longs, but there's big Kwame Geathers. Kwame Geathers eating up the middle of that again, but right up the middle here. And there's Geathers just swallowing guys up. He's the word beast gets thrown around a lot, but at 6'6", 330 pounds, swallowing up 2 blockers, I think it fits pretty well.
Gerald Carr said, quote, a man-child. That's what he said this morning in our meeting. 2nd down and 7. Llewellyn flush from the pocket, still on his feet, and gets rid of it. Nicely done.
He does a good job to avoid the loss. He had 3 guys coming after him from the East squad, so the offensive line's got their hands full with the East squad right now. Geathers coming right out the middle. There's Cesar Rodriguez with the initial pressure.
Andre Sybil in there along with Luther Robinson. Robinson, an interesting kid. He's 6'3", 285 pounds.
Sit down, get on there and get your breath.
And Robinson looking at Miami. He was looking at Florida, South Florida, Central Florida, Louisville.
Robinson's already committed to the University of Miami. And the interesting story with him this week was his big head. He didn't get to practice the first 2 weeks because they couldn't find a helmet that could fit that big head of his in there. Fred Beasley said to him, or I'm sorry, Gerald Carr said to him, that's the type of defensive tackle that the U used to play with.
Right.
So if you go back to Big Jerome Brown, Warren Sapp, that was what he thought of Luther Robinson. Once they got a big enough helmet to put that big head of his in.
That's what you get when you go to scout.com, huh? You find out about helmet size. 4th down and 7. So Ewald will have to punt it away.
And another adventure in the kicking game.
Another high snap. Another short kick. Takes a bounce that favors the West. Rolls into East territory, but on the 49, and that's where they'll take over, leading by the score of 16-0 with 48 seconds to play.
The offensive line for the East has really done a great job coming together. Like I said at the top of the show, 6 left tackles from this team bolding, where only 2 players are getting to play the position they played in high school. Andre Harris at left tackle and Ty Hull at center. All the other guys, Jonathan Harrison is playing guard and has done a great job. The Florida commitment, singled out by the coaches as a very articulate thinker, very smart guy, being recruited to play tackle at Florida, but could end up at guard.
Little play action here, and finally they hand it off, and it goes to the left side, and a short gain on that play. Didn't pick up much, and that's Chris Fields out of Painesville, Ohio.
Fields' biggest asset right now is speed. He's not as polished a receiver as his teammates on the East, but he's the fastest of the bunch. So you take a guy like that and hope that he becomes a polished receiver, runs his routes, because he's got something the other guys will never have, and that's the kind of speed that he does. And you coach the rest of it into him, hopefully.
It's pretty amazing, the transformation from seeing these kids at this ball game to even just 2 years from now, and how good they are. Firing, and then a quick hit made. Close to the first down. Anthony Sanders with the hit on the West defense.
Nice
Sanders
pass.
is out of Las Vegas.
Nice pass from Eugene Smith. Hits the guy. Sanders staying home, though. Does a great job. You see it's a great work from the camera right there. He reads it, comes up, and makes a big hit.
Some of the OD Bowl veterans who are making waves as freshmen or sophomores in the college ranks. How about Des Bryant? Played in this a couple years ago, the wide receiver from Oklahoma State. First team All-American, 18 touchdowns this year. Rolando McClain, linebacker for Alabama. How about Golden Tate, wide receiver for Notre Dame? All have played in this particular game. Short gain that time, and again Sanders along with Childers over there to make the stop. And we step aside as the first quarter of the Offense-Defense Bowl comes to a close at Brooks Stadium in Myrtle Beach. The East and the West. Second quarter. Some of the top athletes in the country on display tonight here on FCS.
If you want to play football like a pro, you've got to train like one. Offense-defense football camps are the best way for kids ages 7 through 18 to learn the fundamentals of football in a safe, full-contact environment. Learn from the likes of Dallas Cowboy DeMarcus Ware, Washington Redskins Santana Moss, and Tennessee Titan Javon Curse, just to name a few. OD football camps are held in more than 50 cities across the country, so there's one near you. Just go to www.o-d.com to register. Don't sit on the sidelines, get in the game today.
Offense Defense Sports is known for producing top quality football players, but did you know OD also produces top quality athletic gear and equipment? From jerseys, pants, and shoulder pads to t-shirts, shorts, and hats, OD can suit you up like a pro from head to toe. Youth leagues, check out our equipment prices and see why hundreds of leagues use OD to outfit their players. High school players dress out in OD gear and everyone will know you came to play. OD carries all types of merchandise that make great gifts for your future football star. We've even got merchandise for OD moms and dads. Visit www.odstore.com to order right over the internet or call at 843-903-1888.
16-0, the East leading the West. The Offense-Defense All-American Bowl. Scott Kennedy alongside from Scout.com. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We'll visit with Ashley Hoyer here momentarily, but looking at that first quarter, Mettenberger, 3 of 6, 74 yards, 6 yards on the 2 completions. Picked up 68 on just 1 on that bomb for a touchdown. Kick is away, low liner. And that will be rolling and then downed near the 15-yard line. And let's check in with Ashley, who's standing by.
Hey guys, joining me now is Stephanie Davis. She's with the Miracle League, and she's going to talk just a little bit about what Offense Defense has done for them. It's an organization that allows wheelchair-bound kids to play sports.
The Miracle League is an organization for special needs children to get the opportunity to play baseball. And it's the first opportunity that some of these kids have to get out and play a sport. And we just thank this organization today for this game and their sponsorship that they've given to the Miracle League to help make this a reality for all the children across the country.
And what exactly has Offense Defense done for y'all to help y'all out?
The Miracle League is receiving a portion of the proceeds from ticket sales, and also another organization here that has donated a TV as a raffle to help these kids out and give them this opportunity.
Okay, and what organization was that donated the TV?
Mike is here, and Hey, Mike.
All right, joining us is Mike. Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about what you did to help out this organization, the Miracle League?
I'm with allamericandirect.com, and we're an online retailer, and we donated a TV so that the Miracle League could raffle it off and help all these children.
All right, and you want to talk to us real quick and let us know what you think about the game here? What's going on? No, it looks like she's a little shy, but it does look like they have smiles on their faces and they're having fun. Back to you guys.
Okay, Ashley, good job. Thank you. Very well done by the offense-defense folks. And beyond the kids that are still playing in college, there are also former campers that turned into National Football League Hall of Famers. Ronnie Lott, Franco Harris, Tony Dorsett, and many more. So doing a lot both with the kids that have a chance to go on and play college and pro football, and also what we see beyond the football field, and they're donating their time and their money and their efforts here. That's Jamal Miles, and the stop was by Cody Ledford, a linebacker out of Tallahassee.
Ledford's headed to Tulane. Also another substitution for the offense is Chris Garrett from Tupelo, Mississippi, getting a series.
You say he's more of a guy that they'd like to get with the rollout.
Right, not as mobile as Jordan Llewellyn and Raymond Cotton, but not immobile, meaning he's got good mobility in the pocket, kind of like a Peyton Manning. You don't think of Peyton as a runner, but he doesn't typically get sacked a lot if he sees the guys coming. Throws the ball with good accuracy on the waggle action, so lots of bootlegs.
Headed to LSU, and for anybody that watched the college game this year, they know that the Tigers need some quarterback help. There he is rolling out. He'll tuck it, running, and brought down at the 32. The stop by Andre Sybil, defensive end from Brooklyn, New York. And
right on cue, pretty good example of what we were speaking about. Lippert, Jack Lippert, the University of Pittsburgh commitment, comes free off the end, and Garrett sidesteps him, makes a little move. One half step quicker, and that's a fumble. So be a little careful. Chris needs to take care of the ball a little bit better. A little better ball security, or else he'll get that one knocked away from behind. So, but exactly what we were speaking of right there. Good mobility within the pocket, and he ends up picking up 6 or 7 yards on first down.
Second down and 3. That's Scott Kennedy. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Scott from Scout.com just slings it to the opposite way and picks up the first down. You know, that doesn't look like much, but he just flicked it out there, and it got out there in a hurry. Well, in on the stop was Sweeting.
Nice and easy, rolls to his left just a little bit, and Lynch over here is taking just a quick out route for a first down and moving the chains.
Scott, how many of these kids will we see in particular with this All-American game, which there are 84 youngsters out there that will enroll in their freshman classes, maybe even starting next week?
There's between 4 and 6 of them. I'm not sure. I think Ashley has all that information, can grab some of the guys. Mettenberger was one of the guys. Chris Garrett is one of those guys. I believe he's enrolling as soon as he gets out of here to head down to LSU. He mentioned in an interview with us on Scout.com earlier that he liked the quarterback situation for early playing time at LSU. And
as I mentioned,
after watching the Chick-fil-A Bowl and Jordan Jefferson, that job may be sewn up for a little bit, but that's okay. That's what red shirts are for, and that's why you get a little class separation. And it doesn't hurt him at all to come in early and be a backup. I mean, how many quarterbacks did LSU go through this year? 3 at least.
Saw Rice Jr. If you're just joining us, that's right. That's Jerry Rice Jr. And we've got a stoppage coming out of the huddle. I think they had too many players out on the field.
Procedure, illegal substitution against the red team.
Well, it's been a fairly cleanly played game thus far. Not a lot of flags, which we're thankful for. I think we're all thankful for that. Another interesting matchup to watch over here. If you can focus on the tight end, Reed Fragel headed to Ohio State. I've been with Scout ranking players. I think this is my 7th or 8th class already, and I think Fragel honestly is the best blocking tight end I've ever seen. 6'6", 6'7". He blocks like that's what he loves to do, but I don't see him necessarily move into the offensive tackle position, which would be a natural progression. He's still a good enough receiver and still light enough to remain a tight end.
Yeah, may have been a busted play there. Cesar Rodriguez, the defensive end from Miami, Florida, was in there, and there's a look at the big man, Kwame Geathers. He is listed on our charts at 6'6", 320 pounds, out of Georgetown, South Carolina. He went to Carvers Bay High School.
And this is a perfect example of the reason why when scouting, you can't just go on junior stuff. Kwame Geathers has made such a huge strides from his junior year to his senior year as he's starting to fill out and learn how to play with that big body.